This is the MVP voting results for 2022. En route to winning his fourth championship and first finals MVP, Steph Curry had to run through the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic. After that, he ran through Ja Morant, who came in seventh, which was then followed up by Luka, who was at number 5, which was then followed by Jason Tatum, who was at number 6. In total, Steph Curry ran through 4 of the top 7 players in the league. Made it look relatively easy, but yet ESPN listed the Warriors superstar as only the 5th best player going into 2023. Man, some people out there are making a big mistake disrespecting Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. And with that being said, let's get into it. In 2019, the Raptors won the championship, and Kawhi was the finals MVP. In the following season, ESPN had him ranked as the 2nd best player. In 2020, the Lakers won the championship with LeBron as the finals MVP, and in the following season, they had him ranked 1st. In 2021, the Bucks won the championship with Giannis as the finals MVP, and in the following season, they had him ranked 2nd. But in 2022, the Warriors won the championship with Curry as the finals MVP, but ESPN had him not 1st, not 2nd, not 3rd, not even 4th, but 5th in their rankings for the best player in 2023. If that ain't the definition of egregious, then I don't know what is. I mean, take a look at this. Did you know that after the Lakers won the 2020 NBA championship, that going into 2021, not only did they list LeBron as the number 1 player, but they also listed Anthony Davis as the 2nd best player. But Steph Curry, on the other hand, is the reigning finals MVP and wasn't even 3rd or 4th. Perhaps some executives from Nike have influence over this list and wanted to promote their brand instead of Under Armour. But anyway, if Steph was like 37 or 38 years old, I can see how he probably won't be as good going into the next season, but the man is only 34 years old and doesn't look to be slowing down one bit. I mean, he just came off winning another championship and his first ever finals MVP, averaging 31 points on shooting splits of 48% from the field, 44% from three-point range, and 86% at the free throw line. And to compound onto that, he did it against arguably the best defense the NBA has seen since the 04 Pistons. I bet that if Steph Curry was 6'6" instead of 6'3", but still had the exact same statistics in every metric, he'd be ranked number 1 on that list. Anywho, I guess that Steph was wrong after all. I mean, after the finals, he said,
"What are they gonna say now? What are they gonna say now?"
Then look at what they said. They said he's the 5th best player in the league. Anyway, before I go on to say why this is a big mistake they're making, let's look at one more point. So, according to NBC Sports, 3 other teams have better odds of winning the championship: the Clippers, Bucks, and the Celtics. First of all, how can they possibly have the Celtics on this list? I mean, their head coach just got suspended for a year. Oh, wait, this article was dated at the end of August, so before that whole incident was reported. But either way, it doesn't matter. The Warriors just blew out the Celtics in 6 games, and yet they're gonna give the Celtics better odds of winning the 2023 championship? I understand they just acquired Malcolm Brogdon, but sheesh, guys. Oh, and also, did y'all hear what Grant Williams said?
Like, I still will say confidently to this day, they weren't the better team. You know what I mean?
Man, after scoring just 3 points in the closeout Game 6 and being a -18, how can you possibly say something like that? It's crazy, if you ask me. Anyway, next off are the Bucks. I can see how some people would put Giannis and the Bucks ahead of the Warriors because Giannis is like the second coming of Shaquille O'Neal. But the truth is, when the Bucks won the championship in 2021, all they had to beat in the finals was a Phoenix Suns team. The same Phoenix Suns that Luka Doncic completely embarrassed in Game 7. The literal exact same team. Well, the Golden State Warriors just easily dispatched the team that humiliated the same team the Bucks beat. If you're confused, all I meant to say was that the Warriors are a much better team than the one which the Bucks beat to win their championship. Then adding on to this, the Warriors are one of the few teams that would be a bad matchup for the Bucks because of the way Mike Budenholzer has his team play defense. What I mean by that is, the Bucks play a lot of drop coverage, which essentially dares opposing teams to beat them by hitting perimeter shots. Well, with the Splash Brothers and Kid Splash in the lineup, I don't think they'd even hesitate taking a three if there was a tiny bit of daylight. I mean, did y'all hear what Clay said to Steph? So, although the Bucks are an elite team with a shot at winning it all, putting them ahead of the Warriors is preposterous. Last off here, we have the Clippers, who have the most votes at winning the championship. Did y'all hear that there's a phrase going around the Brooklyn Nets calling them the Dunder Mifflin Nets? It's probably because they look like champions on paper, but in reality, they haven't really done anything. Well, the same is also true for the Clippers. You can call them the Dunder Mifflin Clippers because they look great on paper, but in reality, in the 3 years that Paul George and Kawhi teamed up, they choked a 3-1 lead and lost in the second round once. Then they lost in the Western Conference Finals against the Phoenix Suns, the same team that was just humiliated by the Mavericks, and the same team that was pushed to 6 games by the 8th-seeded Pelicans. Then in their third year, they missed the playoffs completely. Also, here's one thing that people don't really mention. A ton of people talk a lot of smack about Anthony Davis missing a ton of games, but the truth is, in the last 3 years, AD has played more games than either of the Clippers superstars. I mean, the Lakers star has played in 138 regular season games since getting traded to LA. Kawhi has played in 109 regular season games. And Paul George has played in 133 regular season games over the same span of time, but yet, people are placing the Clippers ahead of the Warriors. Oh my goodness. Moving on here, a lot of people talk about the depth of the Clippers, and sure, they're deep, but they were probably deeper in 2020 when they lost against the Nuggets in the second round. I mean, during that season, both their superstars in Kawhi and PG-13 were healthy. They had the reigning 6th man of the year, Lou Williams, and the new 6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell, and they had a good host of role players, yet they still lost. This season, again, they look good on paper, but if I had to bet between them or the proven defending champions, it'd be a no-brainer to choose the Warriors, especially given the fact that the Warriors are now even better than they were last season. I mean, sure, the Dubs lost key rotational players like Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr., but DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green are pretty good replacements. In addition, Kuminga and Moody are now second-year players. James Wiseman is finally healthy. Jordan Poole has improved. Wiggins and Looney are aiming to make all defensive teams. Klay Thompson finally had an offseason to train instead of rehab. Draymond is playing for a contract. And most of all, Steph was disrespected. But you know what? Steph being disrespected might not be all too bad for the Warriors because he's one of the rare players in the league that plays better when he's insulted. I mean, former Warriors Andrew Bogut said in a podcast that during halftimes, Steph logs into social media to check for any negative mentions about how he's doing, and if he reads something that triggers him, he'll drop like 30 in the second half. In other words, Steph looks for negativity to push him to further heights, and the fact that they got him as the 5th best player and also put a few other teams ahead of them as favorites is perhaps just what the Warriors need to go on another run like how they did to start the 2016 season. Sheesh. And because of all the disrespect, I'm sure this quote is just as true today as it was in 2021.
Don't want to see us next year.